Hey, what's up, guys? Uh, Welcome once more to the Jerkmonger Show, my channel here on YouTube. If you are watching this right now, it's because you're checking it out on the YouTubes. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. I always appreciate when you guys come over. Please feel free to hit the like button. Also subscribe if you like the content you're going to be finding here. Man, that super helps me. And I I I rely on your mercies, on all of your mercies. Anyway, um, I'm working here. This is another one of my divine doodles. I called it that because I did this at church. Sometimes at church, as I'm listening, I try to just kind of draw my sketch, whatever. And this is one of those times where I was working on this drawing is from what's it called, Autodesk Sketchbook on my Android phone, and it's pretty cool. It's a very good tool on the go on my phone. It's which is one of the reasons why I like the Android so much. Basically, I'm just exploring a couple of poses of hands. I really kind of I'm trying to think back of when I started to really pay attention. I think it was my watching my dad. My dad had these really gnarly knuckles. You know, he's always had these workman's hands, and he would the way he would handle like he would cradle his face when he was listening to something, and or the way he would hold something, a hammer or tool. He just had this almost like Michelangelo type hands, you know, like the way that he and Michelangelo painted those things. That's just how I kind of got fascinated by the mechanics of fingers and to the hands and the muscles and that sort of thing. So I always enjoy exploring that, and I love how the hands in a natural state can be very interesting. You know, the way that each digit will lay on the object or lay back, or the way something the more stress is on a couple of fingers versus the rest of them. So yeah, that's part of the one of the things that I've done in my work to really kind of help myself step away from the crowd, is to kind of show, you know, this is the way I do acting and the way I do hands. That's something I really take pride in. Over here, I'm messing around with a fist. It's a typical fist, but what I'm about to do is take the fist further into the wrist area, make it more like it's almost a strongman pose, or like, you know, when you're flexing your bicep, how bodybuilders might flex. And there's always something interesting that happens right at the base of the wrist, on the inside of the wrist, where it curls in these nice little striations of skin. You know, the folds of the skin happen there, and this makes for an interesting look. You know, again, this goes back to just general paying attention to nature. You know, just looking at just you could do it with your own hand. It doesn't make a difference if you're overweight or if you're underweight. You can still, the skin is skin, and it still does the same thing as it lays over the muscle structure or whatever the structure is underneath. Um, there's always this kind of tension going towards the bottom of the fist for some reason. It seems to your wrist, the fist tends to twist away from the top of your wrist to the bottom. I'm talking about from the inside of your wrist, meaning I'm talking about the flat of it, you know. And it starts towards the right side of that wrist. Or I'm looking at my right hand when I'm drawing this. What I'm calling the bottom, where the pinky finger is, along that edge of the arm, it tends to ride down that way. So something really interesting about the way those things work, you know, it's just and it's the way that other things work in similar fashion in nature. You can do that same sort of thing looking at animals and how animal legs work, and just try to find new ways to make that work. Here, I was trying to do something else with this hand, and I think I ended up practically drawing the same hand as I did the first time, just from a slightly different angle. So the way I handle the fingers, again, I'm exploring, you know, the way that the index finger lifts and that sort of thing. So, you know, when the hand is in rest, or it's about to open up, like the way a hand blossoms like a flower, it opens up, and the index finger tends to lead the charge. I think that has something to do with the way that it's the primary digit. You know, that's the first finger you use with your thumb to write and that kind of thing. but it always looks more natural. So if you look at a lot of animation, like from the old Disney animation, you see a lot of the hands, especially in hand studies, you'll see that this sort of pose. So I was just kind of doodling, and I always start off with this concept that you first want to understand how everything works and how everything looks, the way that the mechanics of that those digits are, the bones and such. Um, but overall, the more you kind of play with that concept, you start realizing it's almost like when you get a high end action figure, or I mean, this is the other ways you can study it. I've seen models of those wooden dolls, but they're the hand version for artists, and I know those are really expensive too. But those really help. Just understanding how each digit, how each joint works in the fingers, in each finger, and then how they relate to each other. And sometimes in a good sculpture, which is one of the reasons why I love 3D so much, when you look at a good sculpture, whether it's sculpted traditionally or on in something like ZBrush, you'll see the hand has this natural like fan effect. So it's fanning in a certain way. When you're grabbing something, you seldom grab it with all your fingers straight across the board. They tend to the pinky kind of drops, and each progressive finger up to the index finger tends to rise up higher. So that's kind of what I'm exploring here, trying to just have fun with that aspect of drawing the hands. Um, I'm about to, and you see me playing around. You can see I'm less comfortable with this pose here because I'm doing a lot of erasing, and so you're seeing me kind of exploring the options that I have at my disposal. Some variation of this might have been better early on. Maybe this is the improvement. I don't know, but you can see it's almost the same. It almost looks like this is a study in Cousin It. Remember Cousin It from? No, is it Cousin It? No, no, it was. Who was the thing from Adam's Family? It was a little hand running around. All right, so then I wanted to try something a little different. I wanted to go with something more open, like a flight hand. And this is the right start here, but it looked weird that the fingers were so rubber bandy pushing back. It was almost like I was pushing up against glass. I've seen some artists do that before where they actually draw that way. I just didn't think I could get away with it this time in the way that I was drawing it. It looked a little rubbery, although it looks pretty decent. I might explore that again eventually, just as a study. These are just things as I'm listening, I'm just kind of, doodling away. But you can see here that I decided to go a slightly different route. I drew each digit, each finger, relationship to the thumb, in relationship to the thumb. Sorry for my mumbling. Um, and I probably could have gotten away with this pose right here with the extreme middle finger adjacent to the index finger, but it didn't quite work. Like, it was weird, and I don't know, it wasn't working for me. So you're going to see in a moment that I'm going to switch for a slight adjustment here. Hold on. Sorry about that. My dog was barking, and because my wife got home. But anyway, back to this drawing, you can see that I switched over to just try to line up all the fingers, still doing the fan effect. If you notice, the index finger rides lower than the middle finger, and then it progressively drops down towards the bottom of the hand. So I'm still doing that effect with the hand and trying to tighten it up, and I'm using the closer, like Superman style flight hands, if you will. So yeah, the other rubbery version might have worked, but I felt like this one worked better. So I just have to draw it a little differently, and you can see I lightened that first layer so I can draw over it. I'm still working in Autodesk Sketchbook, and I am drawing the folds of the hand in the palm. I think I'm about here is where I might lift the thumb up higher. And again, I'm not using reference. I'm just going by how I understand how the hand works. So I might be a little off in places, but you can see that generally I'm accomplishing the same goal that I would have accomplished under normal circumstances had I been drawing something for an illustration, a commission, a comic book, whatever. But this is the gist of how I kind of draw things like this. This is kind of my approach. If you like what you're seeing, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to see more of this, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. In the description, I will include links to other social media platforms that I'm involved in, and also a store. I'm going to also include my Teespring store, which has some cool T-shirts for Jerkmonger Show. And if you're wanting to participate in that and be a member of the Jerkmonger Nation, then it's up to you guys. Or it's also known as the Jerk Nation. I think I prefer Jerk Nation. But anyway, go ahead and do those things and tell me what you think down in the comments below. I always review the comments. I at least like them, and sometimes if it's interesting enough, I'll even respond. Thanks, guys. Later.